There's a specific psychological sequence that activates deep female desire, creates emotional imprinting, and builds lasting devotion, and most men never learn it. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about understanding the psychological and neurochemical processes that create genuine feminine attachment. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact framework that turns initial attraction into lasting devotion. Let's reveal the psychology that changes everything. Welcome back to Behind the Mind, where we explore the deepest truths about human psychology and relationships. Today, we're diving into something powerful: how to activate genuine female desire, create emotional imprinting, and build lasting devotion. This is advanced relationship psychology, combining neuroscience, attachment theory, and evolutionary biology. This isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding what women's psychology genuinely responds to and creating authentic conditions for deep connection. Here's the truth most men miss. Desire, emotional imprinting, and devotion aren't created through grand gestures, gifts, or constant availability. They're activated through specific psychological experiences that trigger neurochemical bonding and emotional attachment. This framework is backed by oxytocin research, attachment studies, and evolutionary psychology. Master this sequence, and you'll never wonder why some men inspire deep devotion, while others get friend-zoned. Let's decode the fastest path to genuine female attachment. Phase 1. Create immediate intrigue through strategic unpredictability and challenge. This activates dopamine, the neurochemical of desire and pursuit. The neuroscience, dopamine is released in response to novelty, uncertainty, and pursuit. When something is predictable and easily obtained, dopamine flatlines. When something is intriguing and uncertain, dopamine spikes. What this means? You must create intrigue in initial interactions, not through playing games, but by being genuinely interesting, slightly unpredictable, and not immediately available in every way. How to create intrigue? Don't reveal everything about yourself immediately. Let her discover you gradually. Be outcome independent, genuinely unfazed by whether she likes you. Have mysterious elements to your life that she's curious about. End conversations while they're still engaging, not after they've gone flat. Show selective interest, interested in her, but not desperate for her approval. Why this activates desire? Dopamine creates the feeling of, I need to know more. It's what drives pursuit. Without dopamine activation, she might like you, but she won't feel desire or urgency. The critical distinction. This isn't about being cold or playing hard to get. It's about being genuinely intriguing because you have depth, purpose, and aren't desperate for validation. What kills this phase? Being too available, sharing your entire life story immediately, seeking constant validation, being completely predictable, or demonstrating neediness. The result? When done right, she feels pulled toward you, wanting to know more, see you more, understand you more. That pull is dopamine-driven desire. Bottom line, intrigue activates pursuit. Create dopamine responses through genuine mystery and outcome independence. Phase 2. Once initial intrigue is established, create deep emotional safety. This activates oxytocin, the bonding hormone. The neuroscience, oxytocin is released through emotional safety, physical touch, vulnerability, and feeling understood. It's what transforms attraction to attachment. Skip dopamine and you're in the friend zone. Skip oxytocin and attraction never converts to attachment. How to create emotional safety? Listen deeply without judgment when she shares vulnerable things. Respond with empathy, not problem-solving, to emotional disclosure. Be emotionally consistent, predictable in how you treat her. Show genuine interest in understanding her internal world. Make her feel seen as an individual, not a category. The bonding mechanism? When she feels emotionally safe with you, her nervous system relaxes. Only in that relaxed state can deep bonding occur. Threat blocks attachment. What emotional safety looks like? She can share fears, insecurities, dreams, and emotions without being dismissed, judged, or you withdrawing. You're her safe harbor emotionally. What kills this phase? Dismissing emotions, being judgmental, emotional unavailability, consistency, or making her feel unsafe for being vulnerable. The result? Oxytocin bonding creates the feeling of, this person gets me. She begins attaching emotionally because her nervous system categorizes you as safe. Bottom line, safety activates bonding. Create oxytocin responses through emotional attunement and consistent safety. Phase 3. Create shared emotional peak experiences. These moments create powerful emotional imprinting, memories that become foundational to how she sees you. The psychology, intense positive emotions create the strongest memories. These peak experiences become reference points that define the relationship in her mind. What creates peak emotions? Novel, exciting experiences together. Travel, adventure, new activities. Deep conversations where breakthrough understanding happens. Moments of intense emotional connection or vulnerability. Overcoming challenges together. Experiences that make her feel intensely alive or deeply seen. The imprinting mechanism. During emotional peaks, her brain releases dopamine, excitement, oxytocin, bonding, and encodes the memory as highly significant. You become neurologically associated with those peak emotional states. Why this matters? These peak moments create the highlight reel she plays when thinking about you. They're the memories that make her feel, he's special. The neuroscience, the amygdala, emotion center, and hippocampus, memory center, work together to create vivid, lasting memories during intense emotional experiences. These memories resist fading. What this looks like practically? Don't just spend time together, create memorable experiences. The conversation where she opened up about something she's never shared. The adventure where you both got lost but laughed through it. The moment she felt completely understood. The contrast, routine, predictable time together is fine for maintenance, but it doesn't create imprinting. Peak experiences create the emotional anchors that build devotion. Why this creates devotion? She feels like the relationship is uniquely special. She can't find those feelings elsewhere because they're neurologically linked to you specifically. Bottom line, create peak emotional experiences that imprint you as irreplaceable in her psychological landscape. Phase 4. Share strategic vulnerability to create deep intimacy. This accelerates emotional bonding and makes her feel uniquely trusted. The psychology, vulnerability creates intimacy. When you share something meaningful that you don't share with everyone, she feels chosen and trusted. What strategic vulnerability means? Not oversharing or emotional dumping, but sharing genuine depth, past struggles you've overcome, meaningful life experiences, dreams and fears, moments that shaped you. The bonding mechanism? When you're vulnerable, it signals trust. Trust triggers reciprocal vulnerability. Mutual vulnerability creates the deepest intimacy bonds. Why this works? Most men either share nothing, remaining surface level, or overshare immediately, creating burden. Strategic vulnerability, the right depth at the right time, creates profound connection. The neuroscience, vulnerability activates the ventral vagal system, the social engagement nervous system. It signals safety to bond and creates oxytocin release in both people. What this looks like, sharing a formative life experience that shaped who you are. Opening up about a genuine fear or uncertainty. Revealing a dream or aspiration you rarely share. Discussing a struggle you've worked through or are working through. The critical timing, do this after emotional safety is established in Phase 2 and after you've created some peak experiences in Phase 3. Too early and it's oversharing. At the right time, it's profound. Why this creates devotion? She feels like she knows a version of you that others don't get to see. This creates the feeling of special connection that drives devotion. The balance? Vulnerability without neediness. You're letting her into your inner world, not making her responsible for fixing you. Bottom line, strategic vulnerability creates intimate bonding that makes her feel uniquely trusted and connected. Phase 5. Establish yourself as her emotional anchor, the person she turns to for emotional regulation and support. The psychology. When you consistently provide emotional stability, attunement, and support, you become psychologically essential to her well-being. What being an emotional anchor means: you're the person who makes her feel better when she's stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. Your presence regulates her nervous system. The attachment mechanism. This taps into attachment theory. When you become a consistent source of emotional co-regulation, you fulfill an attachment need. That creates deep bonding. How to become her anchor. Be emotionally available when she needs support. Provide calm, stable presence during her stress. Listen empathetically without trying to immediately fix everything. Help her process emotions through attentive listening. Be predictably supportive. She knows she can count on you. The neuroscience. Co-regulation, when one person's nervous system helps calm another's, creates powerful oxytocin bonding. She neurologically associates you with emotional relief and safety. Why this creates devotion? You become functionally essential to her emotional well-being. Losing you would mean losing her primary source of emotional regulation. The critical balance. Be her anchor without becoming her therapist. Support her emotionally while maintaining your own emotional strength and stability. What this looks like. After a hard day, your presence makes her feel better. When she's anxious, talking to you calms her. When she's overwhelmed, you help her feel grounded. The contrast. Men who are emotionally unavailable can't fulfill this role. Men who are emotionally needy invert it. They become burdens, not anchors. Why this is powerful. Emotional anchors are irreplaceable. Once you occupy this role in her psychology, she becomes deeply devoted because you're meeting a fundamental need. Bottom line, become the person whose presence regulates her nervous system and supports her emotional world. Phase 6. Create compelling future vision together. This activates future self-psychology and investment in the relationship trajectory. The psychology. Humans bond to futures they can envision. When she can clearly imagine a positive future with you, she invests emotionally in that timeline. What future vision means? Not pressuring commitment, but naturally discussing future experiences, dreams, and possibilities that include both of you. The bonding mechanism. When she imagines future experiences with you, her brain treats those imagined experiences as partial memories, creating emotional investment in outcomes that haven't happened yet. How to create future vision. Casually reference future plans together in "when we visit" or "next time we." Discuss long-term goals and dreams, subtly including her in yours. Create anticipation for upcoming shared experiences. Paint pictures of positive scenarios you'll experience together. Make plans that extend weeks or months into the future. Why this activates devotion. She becomes invested in a future timeline where you're central. This creates psychological commitment to that future becoming reality. The neuroscience. Imagining positive future scenarios activates the same reward centers as actually experiencing them. She's essentially pre-experiencing relationship milestones. The critical distinction. This isn't love bombing or premature commitment. It's natural, organic inclusion of her in your future thinking. What this looks like. I'm planning to visit Japan next year. You'd love it there. When we're both more established, it would be amazing to blank. These create future anchors she emotionally attaches to. Why this creates devotion. Once she's emotionally invested in a future with you, anything that threatens that future triggers loss aversion. She becomes protective of the relationship. Bottom line, create compelling future vision that makes her emotionally invested in a shared timeline. Phase 7. Throughout this entire process, maintain selective availability. Never become completely predictable or constantly available. The psychology. Scarcity maintains value. Complete availability, even with someone you're dating, decreases perceived value and creates complacency. What selective availability means. You have a life, purpose, and commitments outside the relationship. She's important, but not your entire world. Why this maintains desire. If detraction required uncertainty and challenge, phase 1, you can't abandon those principles once she's attached. They need maintenance. The dopamine maintenance. Intermittent reinforcement. Periods of high attention followed by periods where you're busy with your life keeps dopamine active. Constant availability lets it flatline. What this looks like. You're not always available for last-minute plans. You have hobbies, work, friends that sometimes take priority. You don't respond to every text immediately. You maintain your own life, goals, and pursuits. The critical balance. This isn't about playing games or being distant. It's about genuinely having a full life that she's part of but doesn't consume entirely. Why this maintains devotion. When you remain somewhat scarce and high value, she continues working to maintain your attention and investment. That effort creates ongoing investment. The contrast. Men who become completely available and abandon their lives for relationships lose attraction rapidly. Their value perception drops. The attachment paradox. She needs you to be reliably there emotionally, phase 5, while also remaining slightly unpredictable and selective with your time and attention. Bottom line, be emotionally available but logistically selective. This maintains both oxytocin bonding and dopamine desire simultaneously. Here's how the 7 phases work together to activate desire, emotional imprinting, and devotion. Phase 1, intrigue. Dopamine activation through unpredictability and challenge creates initial desire and pursuit. Phase 2, emotional safety. Oxytocin bonding through emotional attunement converts desire into attachment. Phase 3, peak experiences. Emotional imprinting through intense shared moments creates powerful memories linked to you. Phase 4, strategic vulnerability. Deep intimacy bonding through appropriate self-disclosure creates feeling of special connection. Phase 5, emotional anchor. Becoming her nervous system regulator makes you psychologically essential. Phase 6, create compelling future vision together. This activates future self-psychology and investment in the relationship trajectory. Phase 7, selective availability. Maintaining value through scarcity prevents complacency and maintains desire. When executed in this sequence, you activate every major psychological and neurochemical bonding mechanism. Dopamine, desire, pursuit, excitement. Oxytocin, bonding, attachment, trust. Emotional imprinting, memory-based devotion. Attachment system activation, becoming irreplaceable. Future investment, psychological commitment. The result, she doesn't just like you or find you attractive, she's deeply bonded, emotionally devoted, and psychologically invested in the relationship. Now, critical warnings about using this knowledge. Warning 1. This only works with genuine care. If you're using this framework manipulatively without actually caring about her, it will eventually backfire. Bonding requires authenticity. Warning 2. You can't fake emotional availability. Phase 2, emotional safety, requires genuine emotional intelligence. If you can't provide that, the framework fails. Warning 3. This creates real attachment. When you activate these bonding mechanisms, she develops genuine feelings. Don't do this casually with people you're not serious about. Warning 4. It works both ways. Going through this process will likely create attachment in you too. Bonding is mutual. Be intentional about who you do this with. Warning 5. Fast doesn't mean rushed. The fastest way means most efficient, not most rushed. These phases still need appropriate time, weeks to months, not days. Use this framework to build genuine, healthy relationships with women you actually care about. Not to manipulate, not to collect options, not to play games. Real devotion comes from meeting genuine psychological needs authentically. This framework shows you how, but you must provide the genuine substance. So, there you have it. The fastest way to activate genuine female desire, emotional imprinting, and lasting devotion. From dopamine intrigue to oxytocin bonding to emotional anchoring, this sequence activates every major attachment mechanism. This isn't about tricks. It's about understanding the psychology and neuroscience of how women bond, then creating authentic conditions for that bonding to occur. Which phase was most eye-opening? Drop 1 to 7 in the comments. And if this framework gave you clarity on building genuine connection, hit that like button and subscribe to Behind the Mind for more advanced relationship psychology. Remember, use this knowledge to build real connection with people you genuinely care about. Emotional bonding is powerful. Handle it with integrity and intentionality.